he would refuse to comply with the law. He threw Northern Ireland under a bus. He ripped up protections for workers' rights and environmental standards, lost every vote along the way, and tried to prevent genuine democratic scrutiny and debate. He once said the whole withdrawal bill, as signed by the previous Prime Minister, is a terrible treaty. And yet this deal is even worse than that. Even if he's not that familiar with it, does the Prime Minister accept that Parliament should have the necessary time to improve on this worse than terrible treaty?
Entirely assured. Closed question, Martin Vickers.
Number 6, Mr. Speaker. Well done.
Mr. Speaker, we will invest in infrastructure in every corner of the UK, including £13 billion on transport in the north of the country.
Martin Vickers.
I thank my right honourable friend for his reply. One thing that would encourage investment in northern Lincolnshire and boost the local economy is Freeport status for the Humber ports, and improved access to those ports by an upgrade to the A15 between Lincoln and the A180 and improved east-west rail freight connections. Could my right honourable friend confirm support for those proposals?
I can indeed, Mr. Speaker, confirm support for those proposals, and I well remember meeting my honourable friend and his constituents in the corridor, I think in Portcullis House, when they raised with me, in addition, the issue of the crossing of the railway line at Suggett's Lane, Mr. Speaker. And I wish to assure my honourable friend that Suggett's Lane is never far from my thoughts, and I have undertakings from the Department of Transport that they will seek to find a solution, a safe means for pedestrians to cross the railway line at Suggett's Lane, in addition to the other pledges I've made today.
Ian Blackford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The legislative consent that the Scottish Parliament is asked is meaningless in the Prime Minister's eyes. So much for the respect agenda, so much for the message in 2014 that we were to lead the United Kingdom, that this was a union of equals, torn asunder by the disrespect of this Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, well, they don't like the truth, but the people of Scotland have heard it from the Prime Minister today. Our Parliament doesn't matter. That's what this Prime Minister thinks of our government in Scotland. Mr. Speaker, last night the Prime Minister was yet again defeated by this House. Europe is willing and waiting. What's stopping him? He must now secure a meaningful extension and bring on a general election. Let the Scottish people decide our future in Scotland.
Seeking to become leader of the Conservative Party, I was possibly the only one of our colleagues who asked him for anything in return for their support. I'm being charitable. I asked him for 3 things. 1, that he would get Brexit done. 2, that he would make me a duke because my wife fancies becoming a duchess. And finally, something that the leader of the opposition certainly agrees with me, that Southend becomes a city. When will these things happen?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm very grateful to my right honourable friend, and grateful to him, by the way, for his support, I may say. But I can say to him that our policy remains unchanged, that we should leave the EU on October the 31st, at the end of this month. We will leave the EU on October the 31st. If we can make that, if the honourable members opposite will comply, and that is what I will say to the EU, and I will report back to the House in due course. On my honourable friend's other 2 requests of a dukedom, a duchess and a city, can I undertake, Mr. Speaker, through your order, to report back to the House on the progress that we're making.
Mr. Barry Shearman.
Reaction to Parliament's request for a delay. I think myself, I must respectfully disagree with my right honourable friend, perhaps not for the first time. I think it would still be very much in the best interest of this country and of democracy to get Brexit done by October the 31st. I will wait to see what our EU friends and partners say in response both to the request for a delay from Parliament and also to the insistence by Parliament that they want a delay. I don't think the people of this country want a delay. I don't want a delay. I intend to press on, but I'm afraid we now have to see what our EU friends will decide on our behalf, and that is the result of the decision that he took last night. That I received excellent advice from a wide range of advisors and officials, and it is the role of advisors to advise and of government to decide, and I take full responsibility for everything that this government does.
Women less than men, hopefully before he makes good on his undertakings to my honourable friend, the member for Southend-on-Sea.
Mr. Speaker, speaking as the oldest son who's never seen any particular benefits from that, I understand completely what she says. I will reflect on her request, and I think she speaks for many people around the country in wishing to see fairness and equality in the way we do these things.
Ronnie Cowan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There are families across the United Kingdom that have children suffering from epilepsy. Many have found that medical cannabis is a great help, but they've been driven to either act unlawfully or paid huge sums of money to gain access to medical cannabis. The Secretary of State for Health stated on the 19th of March that in several months' time it will be made available.
Waiting for precisely what the European Union says about the extension. What will they offer after the Prime Minister was forced to write to them and ask for the extension, and whatever other bits of paper he might have put in the post to Brussels, he was forced by Parliament to do it. And so we're still in this messy situation, you know, the government trying to second guess what the opposition parties would do if they call for a general election. The opposition parties trying to guess exactly what the Prime Minister will do. So we're not much further forward.
We're not. There really isn't much clarity in terms of Boris Johnson wanting a general election, he says, also wanting his deal to be passed, and we're no further forward.